TV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream. Yeah, I said the end, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream. Yeah, I don't affirmly straight apply. Or when I'm stand up for the stone, I live my life. Been east to rich when east and they still when I make it thighs. But the schoolies never bet for me, my dough is still for thighs. I'm the horn, niggas know they cute you, I keep out the bone. But let's get it, you know my me, you miss be up the shown. And when I see a nigga smile, you will say up front. And if they got me know, then I, you know I did the con. You up the icon, I see the fact. This ain't I'm easy, but I hate I wake, so what I pack. I keep a searing in the rain, then I smoke as trash. And if I get, I'll keep a far. I know some planet, yeah. Taking trash to the sky from my reason to living. All the flu on the plane that resenting he ribbon. Jacks kicking out of love, I might never be willing. You shall never know what you I can never forget. But tune in, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream. Yeah, I 7 in, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream. Yeah, you know by now it's on the line of people, but you never know this name is Kanana sequel. Sticking fresh, taking down, so the silent needle. Put down, stay the time to line like you want the needles. And if you hate when I like the brown, it's like your cam in the ground till they come now. But I got so fresh up and through the moose confused. And now I know what's up and noon and that was all for you. Say you never lose, thanks it's later, Parikana. I was go do, he's not a like a bagel, Jake your face. But I was thinking to his soul when y'all was by the cover. And now I wait, man, I ain't like the make whatever. I say complain, flame mind, you gay, ain't no restriction. This nap so hard, go within and never missing. Convinced that you need love me now, but sure and never tripping. It's the amazing saw, boy, yo, come and get tripping. Tune in, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream. Yeah, I say the name, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream.
GPTV1 live stream reaction to day 10 of As the Diddy Turns. What up, dope fam? Welcome to GPTV1 live stream. I'm super excited to be with you all today as we dive into the latest reactions from day 10 of As the Diddy Turns. Man, can you believe how deep this trial is getting? It's got more twists and turns than a classic soap opera. Who remembers watching those day or night? Today, I will be unpacking some serious testimony from Diddy's executive assistants who dropped some bombshells that left us all shook. Which reveal has raised some eyebrows and sparked heated debates about whether this whole situation is simply a relationship gone bad or is there more to it. With other witnesses stepping up, it's time to ask, do we still think is this just a relationship issue? Before we dig deeper, let's take a moment for a community highlight. Shouts out to Veronica Clayton, -Y17SY, and Kentucky Kentucky Migolo for their contribution. Your support is appreciated. Now, let's talk about something exciting. The PDQ playlist is making a resurgence. If you haven't checked it out yet, now's the time. I'm seeing some great vibes in the chat, and I want to keep that energy flowing. Remember, let's focus on positive dialogue instead of dwelling on what went wrong in the hood. We all played a part in that situation, so let's have some good dialogue. So what are your thoughts on this trial so far? Is it still just a messy breakup, or is there something deeper at play? Let's get into it. Welcome to the GP Inner Circle. What up, though, GP fam? I'm excited to announce that the GP membership is now officially active. This is your chance to step up and show your support in a way that truly matters. By joining the Inner Circle, you will unlock exclusive perks tailored just for the most dedicated supporters, because you deserve nothing less. But that's not all. The Super Chat feature is now live, giving you an even greater opportunity to engage with me and the community in real time. Your support fuels my passion and creativity, inspiring me to deliver the kind of fire content that only the GP fam deserves. So why wait? Join the GP membership today and be a part of something special. Let's elevate this community together, because when you thrive, we all thrive. Welcome to the inner circle. Your journey starts now. Much love. Yeah, I'm back with y'all live. Thank y'all for joining me and stopping by. It don't cost nothing to click that like button. And I listened to some of the some of the updates earlier today. And I listened to it for a while. So that the lady that does the reporting that's sitting inside the courtroom, she gave some good updates. And I follow them. I check their channel out and all that. So I want to get into that, so let me get over here and pull that up. And I want to give my reactions to this what she's saying was happening in the courtroom. So I want to give my reaction to that. So let me pull that up. Where's that at? Okay, where did it go to? Somewhere else. Okay, let me just go here. Let me look this up. Okay, here we go. I want to get into that. And I sort of want to give my reaction to the updates that's coming out, what happened in the courtroom today. It's interesting, man. It's just some bombshells out there. You know, this guy right here, when Cassie testified, the debate just got really, really heavy, you know, and people just saying it's a relationship going bad. I'm like, okay, they put the emotional stuff out there first. So what do y'all think about these other witnesses coming to the stand? They seem to be pretty consistent at what they're talking about. So I want to get my reaction to what this lady was saying in the trial today. So let's play that. Gets deep, y'all. It gets deep. It's a soap opera for real. Let's get to it.
The allegation goes, that stems from 2011. And what do we know that happens in 2011, specifically around December of that time frame? That is when we start to kind of get into the Kid Cudi and Cassie relationship. Obviously, a very huge talking point throughout a lot of this testimony, especially last week, kind of trickling into this week. Around the 2011 time frame, Capricorn Clark is no longer Diddy's personal assistant of a global.
By the way, the assistant's name is Capricorn Clark. Interesting name. But that's who testified today. She's
and director, so she's around 28 years old around this time. But she said around this time frame, she was also working as Cassie's creative director and manager too. So kind of pulling those double roles. And she said as far as that role of being a creative director, it was kind of.
This woman does a great job. And like I say, I watch this channel all the time. I watch a lot of these different channels.
Maximizing the optics for Cassie. So as far as just everything with the Kiddy incident. Capricorn Clark explained that Cassie was seeing Kid Cudi in December of 2011. We already know this, but Cassie had asked around this time frame whether or not Kid Cudi could come on a hike with Capricorn and Cassie. And Capricorn actually said that this was going to be a bad idea. Capricorn was concerned whether or not Diddy would find out. And so Capricorn was explaining that Diddy had bought her phone, and she was worried about Diddy seeing these text messages come through from Cassie, kind of explaining that she wanted to bring Kid Cudi on this hike that they were doing together.
Yeah, y'all look toasted on this picture right here. Y'all blow it out y'all mind. Oh,
and Capricorn actually explained on the stand today that she was the one who brought Cassie in to buy that burner phone, so that way it wouldn't be traced back to Cassie. That way they could talk without Diddy finding out. So that was.
You know what I see in this situation? People talk about the age difference. You know, once you make it past 18, you really can't say nothing. But at the same time, a woman his age is not finna go for this type stuff. She gonna box with his ass. But anyway, that's just my
was kind of a big
speculation. Let's go.
revelation that we learned today, because Capricorn had explained that she got Cassie this burner phone, or she went with her to Best Buy to buy this burner phone because she was afraid that they would all get killed. There is a decision made by the defense, obviously, because everyone's just like, oh my God, this now. Another time where Diddy allegedly threatened to kill either Capricorn Clark or Cassie or somebody in just that fashion. But the objection was sustained, so that part is struck from the record. But Capricorn said she all of a sudden was hearing a loud banging at her apartment. And so she said that she looked through the peephole of her apartment door and she saw that Diddy was upset. He was pacing. His body language looked like something was kind of in his hand. So Capricorn Clark opened the shed. She did. Diddy was still upset.
This is the part of the trial where they're trying to prove kidnapping. There's some underlying stuff that goes along with this RICO trial, and they going into what they saying accumulates to this RICO. And this kidnapping is a part
everything that he wore, from a button-down shirt, a sweater, that he had slacks that just happened to be ripped. And she said it exposed his underwear, but she said that Diddy had a gun in his hand whenever he was banging on her door. And so
Diddy the gangster.
Said to Capricorn Clark in a very angry way, why didn't you tell me who is Scott? And as we know Scott, he's Sotness Cuddy, aka Kid Cudi. And so Diddy told Capricorn, get dressed, we're gonna kill this N-word, and that's what she said. And I will say here, Jesse, that Capricorn Clark, when she was on the stand, I wouldn't necessarily characterize it as being casual.
For those who are on the outside looking at this, you may see the video sort of freezing a little bit, but the vocals keep moving along. So it shows like that on different monitors.
Well, but anyway, as far as just profanity is concerned, she very kind of out there as far as what was said, what words were used. And so it's a little profane during some aspects of her testimony. And so, yeah, Diddy had told they were going to go kill this person, and that person being Kid Cudi. And so during this testimony, I saw that Diddy was jotting down some notes during this. And so Capricorn said that she didn't want that.
So they wanted to go murk Kid Cudi. Like I said, Diddy getting gangster. And by the way, I'm live on YouTube and Twitch. Check me out on Twitch.
Man, he put a gun in his waist, that same gun that he had in his hand, he put in his waist, and that Diddy still seemed mad, but not mad at Capricorn. And Capricorn said that Diddy had never been to her house before, but once they were in the car, Diddy moved his gun from his waist to his lap now. Notably, Ruben, who we know as also but is also D-Rock's little brother, was the one who was driving the car. So it was the three of them, Capricorn, Diddy, and Ruben, aka Drew. And so Capricorn explained that she wasn't able to leave the Escalade, which I guess is the vehicle that they had driven down to. She said that everything was happening so fast, there was no conversation going on, but they went from Capricorn home all the way to Kid Cudi's house, or I guess all the way up to Kid Cudi's house in the Hollywood Hills. And then we're showing a photo of the Google map that shows kind of direction of driving or direction of travel from Capricorn Clark's house to Kid Cudi's home. And we see that same zip photo of Kid Cudi's work. And so from there, Capricorn was kind of explaining she didn't know whether or not Kid Cudi was actually at his home, but that she had to stay in the car. Meanwhile, Ben and Diddy went inside to Cudi's home. Capricorn explained that she had called Cassie and called Cassie's burner phone through all of this, and Capricorn had explained to Cassie, she said, Cassie, what the F? And she had told Cassie that she was brought to Kid Cudi's home essentially to be there so that way they could kill him. And Capricorn's actually changed the name from Cassie's burner phone over to, I guess, her best friend's name because she didn't want Diddy to find out that she called her to give her a heads up. But guess what happens next? Diddy comes out, and she said that while she's on the phone with Cassie, she could hear Kid Cudi on the phone telling Cassie that this man.
Like this woman, Capricorn, and people get caught up like that in the hood. You know, you riding with the homie, there's some stuff pop off with the homie. Since you with the homie, you just gonna ride it on out. You know, I mean, what are you gonna do? Change your mind at the last moment? You know, it's stuff like that happens. You know, you get in the car with them, and you know, and this is another thing about doing stuff around people. You know, these people. This woman don't live this lifestyle. It's gonna come a point where she gonna tell somebody what happened. That's just what it is, man. It is what it is.
Those weren't the exact words that were said, but
that's Diddy's fault for dragging all these people around doing all this stuff, and that's not their lifestyle.
You get what I'm going with that. But and Cassie was trying to stop him because he could have been killed in this incident, according to Capricorn Clark. Diddy comes out. Diddy explains, who the F are you talking to? Diddy called that same number back, found out that that's Cassie's burner phone, then got livid knowing I have this extra phone. And so Capricorn said that Kid Cudi later pulled up to his home. He sped off later, though, and then D-Rock, Capricorn, and Rue all followed him in the same car.
Then you got Cassie, she on her mess too, you know. How you know she ain't set all this stuff up for Diddy to find out? You know, I'm just speculating at that point, but you know, y'all supposed to be hiding this, that, and doing all this stuff behind this guy back. It seems like he ain't had no problem figuring out what was going on. But I think in this case, they saying he going to this rage because he need Cassie in particular to do these freak offs. But let's go.
Chased him until they essentially lost him. Then police responded, and that's when Kid Cudi, I guess, returns back to his home. And it's interesting because I don't recall under direct or even cross-examination that Kid Cudi explaining that he actually drove to the home before the police. Capricorn Clark, that's what she kind of said happened, but she surprisingly said that Diddy was relatively calm.
So Kid Cudi did go to his house and Diddy and them chased him. We didn't know that part. When you talk about these RICO cases, they don't really need to have a lot of direct evidence. All they need is somebody to get on the stand and just say they saw this and that. That's just how the Fed work. I did an interview with Pink Suits, the guy that got caught up in the BMF sweep, and he's probably still in the Feds right now. He got all that time just like Big Meech and them did. And Southwest T and Big Meech is out, and he's still in there. Nobody talks about him. He's from Kentucky. I did an interview from the Feds. His name is Pink Suit. You can go on my playlist and find that video. And he sort of explains his case. They brought people in there he may have said hi to. Some people he didn't even know. And he ended up getting 30 years for that stuff. But he's standing there strong. He like, I ain't snitching on nobody and all that. So, but that's all the Feds need. So they just need anybody to get on. They can bring anybody. Really. Let's go.
Police siren going over to Kid Cudi's home, but that afterwards, Capricorn, Diddy, and Ruben all went to the Key Club, and Diddy told Capricorn to essentially call Cassie and tell her to come over here, and Cassie said, "Okay, well, come get me." So Diddy told Cassie to tell Kid Cudi not to tell the police that Diddy was the one allegedly behind it and not to make a police report about the incident. The Capricorn told Kid Cudi as well, too, not to file this police report, and that Kid Cudi was essentially mind blown. There was another objection. That objection was sustained, so maybe the mind blown won't be in the transcript. But after this event happened, and after this, because this was just them going into...
And that's the thing about people like P. Diddy. They sort of look at your background. If you're not that threatening to them and you're not known to be riding around with mobs and crews and, you know, basically have a gangster type of aura about yourself, then they'll try to come press you. But if you gangster, P. Diddy ain't coming to your house. So I just can't see this happening. Me personally, hindsight is 20/20. But I'm calling some of my guys before I head to my house. I'm calling guys up. Look, this dude at my house. Let's ride. I know he got some folks with him. Let's ride. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. That's just me. Hindsight is 2020. Let's go.
Home that Capricorn and Kathy went over to Diddy's house, and Diddy began physically assaulting and being physically violent with Cassie. Capricorn explained that he kept kicking her and he never used his hands. Cassie was crouched into this fetal position.
Elizabeth, let me jump in because it's so loud right now. I know we got the sirens going on. This is the beauty of a live shot right outside the federal courthouse. But look, just from
that is New York City, boy. You talking about noise, Manhattan and all around there. The downtown area, man, off the chain. Let's go.
My point of view, look, this is really, really important testimony because it helps establish this alleged kidnapping. It helps to back up what Kid Cudi had testified to. It helps to describe and back up and corroborate with what Cassandra Ventura had testified to. All this idea that the jury has to believe that Sean Combs was essentially a mob, that he was running this criminal organization and had people, engaging in this kind of behavior. And I'll pick it up back to you because the sound stopped. But, also real quick.
I mean, the way they describing it right now, it certainly seems like that. This the mob boss. And you got to think now, here in New York City, where do you think the mafia come from? Where y'all think all that come from? It's New York City. So the implications is out there, the mafias. Let's go.
About her work. She talked about being forced. I mean, if we're talking about forced labor, it wasn't just the hours. I mean, she talked about the hours she had to work as well, but also the kind of circumstances of her job too, right?
Streams, upload and stream is how podcasters, fashion and beauty streamers,
Oh, they're on commercial. We're going to get through that.
Professionals grow their
Give me
channels.
a brief moment.
To restream.
She did, and as I'm trying to go through my notes, everyone, that's also the beauty of the live shot, is writing or finding your place where you'd wrote down everything, because you write down so many notes, I should say. But as far as just the overworking that she did, she said on a good night she got 4 hours of sleep, and then on a bad night she got 2 hours of sleep. I think 4 hours of sleep is kind of a bad night, but according to her, that was just pretty typical. That she even got stress-induced alopecia from working with Diddy. She even had to go to a doctor. She said that around that time frame, she was making about $65,000 as her salary as a personal assistant. But the thing is, Jesse, she went to HR, and HR calculated Capricorn's overtime, and she said that she had enough overtime that was owed to her, totaling about $80,000 of time. That's a lot of money. But what did Diddy do whenever he was shown kind of this paper receipt, kind of this document that showed that she was owed $80,000 in overtime? Diddy allegedly ripped up this paper. That's what Capricorn Clark said while she was on the stand. But like a lot of the other assistants that have testified so far, including,
So that's part of the RICO charge that they proven that these people being overworked, coerced to work, bullied to work, and overworked. So, but I'm gonna let some of this play for a little bit. I gotta take the little phone call right quick, and I'll be right back with y'all.
James and George Kaplan as well. That Capricorn Clark's one of her many duties was to set up hotel rooms, and even just thinking about this time frame, right, Jesse? It's from 2004 to 2006. So this was before the Cassie relationship that she was still required to set up these hotels. She said that she would unpack a camera box. This camera box had a camera, lube, baby oil in it. She said that she had to unpack Diddy's clothes, his shoes, a toiletry bag, which a toiletry bag was that Louis Vuitton bag that allegedly had drugs inside of it. She said there were drugs like ecstasy inside this bag. Kind of still the same old tricks, it seems like, too, from just booking these hotel stays, that if it was one of Diddy's girlfriend, because again, this was before Cassie Ventura, that the name for the girlfriend would be Jackie Starr, the same alias that was used by Cassie. She had explained that as far as the names for the hotel reservations for Diddy specifically, she said that those could be either Frank Black, they could be Frank White. She even said that during some of these hotel stays that he being Diddy would stay at the hotel with Kim Porter, and this would be something that would happen at least once a week, but there were other girlfriends who would stay at the hotel too. And then even in the aftermath of everything, Jesse, it's kind of that same old thing where she would pack up all of his stuff, clean up after him, and what was kind of on the walls and kind of the stickier stuff, hotel rooms, it was baby oil. So it was interesting kind of hearing that even before the Cassie Ventura relationship goes, that Capricorn Park was essentially.
So all this stuff was going on before Cassie even came along, and I wonder what they was using to clean up all this baby oil. Like, you got to come in and bring like carpet cleaning type crews and all that type stuff. So that's incredible that this guy will put together a crew to come clean this mess up that he left in these hotel rooms. And mighty funny that he ain't messing up his house with all that. I mean, I'm sure he did it sometimes, but it seems to be going in all these hotel rooms and come with this cleaning crew. But the story seems to be consistent. All these people got to set all this stuff up. And that's how they trying to explain the criminal enterprise. Because the question has always has been, where's the continuation? It has to be that when you talk about a RICO.
Doing the same type of responsibilities at others did Cassie after the fact.
Right. Listen, we have a lot to break down testimony and what to make of it. But Elizabeth Milner, thank you so much for the in-depth report. It feels like I'm, reading the transcript. That's how detailed and thorough your reporting is on it. I had to jump back.
Yeah, this lady is very detailed. She's doing a great job. I'm a communications major, so I always appreciate good reporting. That's why I like media. Even though you had podcasters and different podcasters, I salute them. If you can get on YouTube and Twitch and all of that and build your audience, salute to you. And by the way, again, I'm live on Twitch right now, live on YouTube, GPTV1 on Twitch. I still got to add some dresses to that channel. I just linked it up, but I'm live over there right now. But I appreciate this woman right here with her reporting. So
back into the courtroom, but Elizabeth, thank you so much.
DRM has the best AI features in the game,
especially in sales.
Hands
down.
So for me,
they gotta get their money
composition
too.
works like math.
I'm gonna skip over that.
Thanks, Jesse.
All right, so we're going to break this down, and we're also going to break down your questions. We see them all coming in right now. So I want to bring on my guests. I'm joined first by criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Safa Robinson-Ferrer. Great to have you here, Safa. And we are also joined by entertainment and employment attorney.
These guys get some good commentary. So there's lawyers speaking on this all across the country. And what makes great conversation, you can't have everybody on the same side. Somebody got to be on the other side. Somebody got to give their points of views on the defense side. So, but, a lot of these lawyers saying this guy is pretty cooked. I mean, that's a lot of evidence, like literally. That's a lot of evidence. And it don't take that much evidence to get you locked up on a RICO charge. It literally don't. And I think that we all, as the public, looking for these bombshell type of real mafia type shit, like what we see in The Godfather, that type of stuff. That's pretty much what he's doing. But let's check out some of the stuff they're talking about. Let's go.
Cameron Dolachahi, thank you so much, both of you, for taking the time. So a lot of questions to get into. I will start with you, Safa. We've got this question that's coming in from D Princess. Capricorn said she observed Diddy with guns. The government has unmarked guns in evidence. What impact will this have on the RICO case, racketeering conspiracy?
That is a really great question. This guy be asking some great questions. Like I said, I'll give it to him. 1,000.
Talk to us about this, Safa.
Going to have a significant impact on the RICO charges, because one of the things that the government has to prove is that there's an
Now, mind you, this is a defensive lawyer. She used to be a prosecutor, and those lawyers be switching sides. Some of them be defensive lawyers, then they're turning into a prosecutor or that side, or sometimes they switch to the defense. So, but this is a defensive lawyer speaking about
Underlying
this.
predicate offense within a 10-year period to substantiate the RICO charge. The government last week had testimony with respect to the arson in Kid Cudi's vehicle, which is one of the predicate offenses that they would have to prove. Kidnapping is also another predicate offense they have to prove. So if the government can show that Mr. Combs used threats of force or physical violence by way of using a firearm, which is a significant threat of force and would cause someone to fear for their life.
So here's a licensed lawyer explaining what the RICO and what they're looking
Prove
for.
the kidnapping. And based on Capricorn Clark's testimony this morning, I think they're on a pretty good path of proving that.
I think the testimony
So that's the underlying stuff they trying to prove is the kidnapping.
about what the employees went through, what was required of them. Even if you go back to one of his former assistants saying that it was Sean Combs' kingdom and we all did what he wanted. One of the things that she testified to is that she had to take a lie detector test. Capricorn Clark had to take a lie detector test. One of the questions is, Danny asks, why did he make Capricorn take a test?
What?
She passed or
Didn't know
failed.
that.
It might have had something to do with whether or not she stole jewelry. You know, that's an important aspect of this case as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, these are people going under incredibly tough conditions to work. You know, they each probably have their own basis for separate lawsuits against them from, you know.
They brought in an employment attorney, entertainment and employment attorney. So, man,
unpaid wages to, like I mentioned, hostile work environment, to failure to prevent discrimination, and you know, living and working under those conditions. You know, typically that, you know, I represent plaintiffs, and those are the exact working conditions that lead to multiple lawsuits against the same employer. So, you know, the testimony from the employees, it's not just one person saying it, you know, multiple people corroborating the same work environment lends absolute credence to it.
So we also get questions in from, not just on YouTube, but we get emails. And there was one that struck us last week. I got to repeat it. I'm going to go to you, Safa. This is an email question from Jamie. I've been watching Law and Crime to keep me updated on the Diddy trial. Thank you all for the information. You're welcome. I've heard people on your show and others say that the prosecution's witnesses are providing testimony to show that Cassie was
If you just happen to stop by, please click that like button. I appreciate it.
Coerced to comply with Diddy's sex fantasy demands in order to support sex trafficking charges. There are men who sexually, physically, financially, and emotionally abuse women using force, fraud, or coercion all the time. It seems that in order for Diddy's crimes to qualify for commercial sex trafficking, someone would have needed to purchase a victim, i.e. Cassie, from Diddy for the purpose of sex acts. It seems
Yeah, y'all all in that party with
that's
Diddy.
why Diddy's crimes wouldn't qualify for sex trafficking, because it's not commercial that we've heard of yet. Why isn't anyone talking about that? Am I missing something? And then there's also a tagline, also, still don't understand what RICO is. So Sal, I'll give the floor to you. Is it about purchasing Cassie for sex trafficking? And also, if you want to give a real quick 4-sentence definition about what RICO is.
So really quickly, RICO is a racketeering, influenced, and corrupt organization, which essentially means that you have a criminal enterprise that engages in a pattern of behavior that would further that criminal enterprise. There's a few predicate offenses. Some of them include bribery, kidnapping, arson, other things like that. And essentially those would go to prove further the enterprise, so to speak. So that is basically what a RICO is, first and foremost. Now, with
Like I said, she's giving a definition of what we all been looking for, the continuance of an enterprise.
with respect to the sex trafficking charges here in the indictment, it's not that Cassie was the one that was purchased for sexual activity, but that they purchased sex workers, so to speak, in order to engage in sexual acts with Cassie, which is why the government had a number of male sex workers that testified with respect to, you know, who they worked for, when they became engaged with Mr. Combs and Cassie Ventura, when they traveled or if they traveled from state to state, because there is a transportation and commerce component to that as well. So it's that Mr. Combs essentially purchased these sex or commercial sex workers, transported them via state lines or across state lines for the purposes of engaging in commercial sexual activity with Ms. Ventura.
Safa, I just want to follow up about one point.
So that's an explanation of
this.
sex trafficking.
Sidebar.
We pretty much know what that is now, and I think they proved that part in the
Coming out later
case.
tonight about whether or not the prosecution at this point has proved sex trafficking. So I encourage everybody to check it out. But the reason I bring it up is one of the questions I posed there. I'm going to throw to you. Is it also commercial sex, whether or not, putting aside what was paid to these sex workers, if something of value was promised to Cassandra Ventura, does that make it commercial sex? Is it only about the sex workers, or is it something of value, or whether it was gifts or trips or financial dependency or career promises? Is that commercial sex for sex trafficking?
To an extent, but more so you see it often with respect to the exchange of currency. Could gifts and things of that nature make a showing of commercial sex acts? Possibly. But again, with respect to the government proving that Ms. Ventura was the person that was the basis for the commercial sex act, that workers that were purchased through this company were the individuals that were commercially or they were the commercial sex workers. So I think it's really with respect to those individuals. But I think interestingly enough.
So we know that Cassie is not the commercial sex worker.
The question of this particular company, which seems to be a legitimized company.
And by the way, people have been saying it's about Diddy for years. I'm talking about years on top of years. And people just wouldn't listen to him.
Employing these sex workers for individuals to purchase.
Good for you now, Cameron. By the way, and I correct me if I'm wrong, am I mispronouncing your name? Is it Cameron or Cameron? I keep looking and I'm wondering if I'm saying it incorrectly.
Cameron, I'm a child of Iranian immigrants, so they spelled it quite an interesting way, but it's Cameron.
Oh, there you go. Okay, well, there you go, Cameron. So we got a question from Mikey John. Do you think Usher is on the witness list? He's known Diddy for a long time, even lived with him. I'm sure he must know something. And let me just couple that. Dawn Richard last week, I believe it was.
Usher is not about to get on that stand unless he got this real disdain for P. Diddy. And a lot of people wondering why isn't these entertainers and all that stuff speaking out about this. You got to remember, these people are famous. They have PR teams. They have lawyers and all that type of stuff. Best believe their public relations people are telling them to stay away from this. Do not speak on this. Don't take up for this guy. Do not even go nowhere near this. Best believe these entertainers are getting that type of advice. So I don't believe Usher going to get on the stand.
Testified that she observed Diddy punch Cassie in front of high-profile celebrities like Usher, which I have said goes to the idea of the power dynamic. So a big factor for the jury to consider is, why didn't Cassie leave? Why didn't she step forward? Why didn't she fight back? Why didn't she report Combs? Well, if that allegation is true and the jury accepts it, that he could beat her up in front of these people and nobody steps in, nobody does anything, that shows the power of Combs. What is she expected to do? Do you think Usher's going to be called to the stand?
Yeah, he absolutely could be. That's a great point. His testimony is absolutely relevant.
Man, Usher is not getting on that stand. Forget about it. He has not shown publicly this disdain for P. Diddy. And a lot of people see that type of stuff. We don't get involved in, when we see couples fighting and all that stuff. I seen a guy fighting his wife one time. This woman pulled out a razor blade and she just came up and sliced him across the face. I was like, damn, she cut his face wide open. I didn't see that part of it. I was actually sitting in the house and somebody came in the house and told me about it. But they walked back to the door and they say he out there whooping on her now. But he said it casually. So I went up to the door and looked out, man, that dude was whooping the hell out that wife with a golf club. I mean, full blown. I mean, this dude coming from Alaska with those swings. I mean, this is his wife. This is his wife. He was out there beating her lip and stew out this woman with this golf club. Now imagine she just sliced his face open with this damn razor blade. The very next day, I came outside. Them couple was sitting there like nothing had happened. Both of them went to the hospital. She had her arm in a sling. He broke her arm, and he had his face bandaged up and stitched up. Like she scarred him for life. That was a real cut across his face. But they were sitting on the porch like ain't nothing happened. That same couple, I knew the guys. I was standing in the backyard one time, and they were arguing. That woman came back there and launched that bottle at all of us. She didn't give a fuck. So a lot of us probably wouldn't say nothing or try to get involved in this shit because you can get killed like that. People will turn around and shoot your ass, literally. So if you want to get involved in that shit, I would say call the police or just keep it moving. So it don't surprise me that he walloping this woman and ain't nobody saying nothing. But according to them, that's how he uses power. So I don't know. If I see couples fighting, I stay out of that shit. I stay the fuck out of that. Hell no. But anyway, that's just me. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Let's go.
To show the domestic abuse, to show the forced nature of the relationship and the freak offs. So as high profile as he is, and maybe without this testimony, his lawyers could potentially put up some sort of a fight to avoid having him testify because it is obviously burdensome and difficult at times. But I think it is absolutely relevant in this case. So you could definitely see him on the stand. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
And the witness list is sealed, so we don't really know who's going to take the stand until it's announced at the end of the day. Oh, this person's going to be testifying tomorrow. That's kind of how we knew Capricorn Clark testify today. And I'll just follow up another question for you, Cameron. This is from Sam K. Are there celebrities, like big name actors, going to testify?
I would think definitely. I think there's, this level of credibility that you have for a celebrity who has nothing to come and testify. You saw that with Kate Moss and the Johnny Depp trial. And even Johnny Depp's attorney said Kate Moss has no reason to lie. She doesn't want to be here, right? So I think testimony from people like Kid Cudi, Usher, other celebrities where they really don't want to be there.
And other celebrities get on the stand. I would like to see these other celebrities get on the stand. Well, we could say Kid Cudi is a celebrity. I want to see these other names supposedly getting on this stand.
Or telling the truth because of that reason are going to be really credible and impactful for the jury.
But for the prosecutor's point of view, you would also have to imagine, do they want it to get this far? Do they, they don't want to call like a J-Lo, Justin Bieber, right? Because then it just confuses.
There's a lot of stuff going on with this Justin Bieber guy. He comes off like he really was disturbed about this music industry, like to the point this guy's, it appears he got some type of mental health issues, and it come from dealing with this music industry. And a lot of people say it come from dealing with Diddy and J-Lo. I believe she owns some of those videos. I really do. Let's go.
About it gets to, I think they're as specific as possible with who victims are, who the escorts are, what the charges are. Because if you take every allegation.
In fact, J-Lo was just on American Music Awards. She on that kissing all these women and all that type stuff. You on some freaky stuff yourself. Let's get to it.
Against Sean Combs in the past 2 years from every civil lawsuit, putting aside the fact whether it's even relevant to the federal case. I don't think they want an expansive case like that.
Yes and no, and I think Safa can speak more intelligently about this, but usually prosecutors want to give as...
You stopping by, don't cost nothing to click that like button, help the channel out. The algorithm kicks in, the more likes I get.
Much evidence as possible and kind of almost beat a dead horse over and over, showing all the bad acts. They're presenting their case first. All that evidence comes in for the jury, and it's pretty impactful. So, I don't know if the prosecution, especially in this case, with the mountain of evidence that they have from the federal indictments and the raids, are going to say, okay, I think we have enough, and let's not confuse the jury. I think the jury, when they have enough bad facts and enough credible witnesses, they'll figure out a way on charges to get a conviction.
I'll throw that to you, Safa, if you have an opinion about it.
Yeah, I would agree with Cameron. But not only that, I always think, and this is more of a style approach, is when you're telling the truth isn't complicated. So I don't think that you need, a bunch of witnesses to repeatedly tell the same thing. You want to get in, you want to get out, and you want to give impactful testimony for the jury to take away and consider. Now, it would be beneficial for the government to have these very noble people.
The jury is not going to be confused with all this. I think they pretty much laying this case out. And my thing has always been, yeah, we can go in on Cassie, but what about the rest of these witnesses? I mean, how you going to go through their stuff? We all had that debate about Cassie, but what about the rest of these people? Let's get to it.
Testify to the same thing, and the jurors are humans. They are going to be fascinated by some of the people that come to testify in the witness stand, especially if you do have an usher or jailer or somebody of that stature. But I don't think it's necessary with respect to the government's case. Not only that, I think with the domestic violence component, which essentially goes to show the threat of force and physical violence, I think we've heard quite a bit of testimony from Ms. Ventura herself, from Capricorn Clark, from Mr. Mascotti, and a bunch of other witnesses that would corroborate that. So I think the government's doing a pretty good job. They can certainly include some of these witnesses. I don't think it's actually.
Just a reminder, this is a defensive lawyer.
Necessary. But to Mr. Cameron's point, they put as much.
And all these stories been corroborated. All of them coming with pretty much the same story. And are they working together in concert, all these witnesses? Maybe so. They want to make sure all these stories line up, because how everybody got the same story, especially when it comes to this Kid Cudi guy. I mean, what do y'all think? Y'all think they working together, these witnesses and all that? I mean, these stories are corroborating, so let's get to it.
And throw the whole kitchen sink to get their conviction.
Saf, I want to follow up with another question. There's been a lot of talk about alleged victim number 3. Maybe can't find this person, not going to be able to testify. It was a big development leading into this trial. So we got a question from NLin93. And before I read this question, it presumes a lot and makes a lot of accusations. Just put it there. So NLin93 asks, is it okay, legal, for Diddy to pay off Gina to not testify? So assuming Gina is alleged victim number 3, and assuming that's what he did. And if so, will the prosecutors know before it's too late in this case? Safa?
That is 100% illegal. He cannot do that. That is witness tampering. That's bribery. He would.
Yeah, there's more charges, But how you know that person probably just didn't want to get on the stand? How y'all know?
Be subject to criminal charges if he were to do that. Could the government be informed that he did do this or allegedly do this prior to the end of trial? I'm sure, there's an interesting question as to why whoever victim number 3 is, why they didn't testify or why they have not testified as of yet, if they are still missing in action. And I do believe that victim 3 has an attorney. So it's interesting to see how their attorney is playing into this, because generally speaking, when us as defense attorneys, we
Now, remind y'all that this woman, Capricorn, has been working for Diddy before Cassie came around. So she say this was going on before Cassie. And what about after Cassie?
Have a client testify. We are in constant communication with that person. So the last thing I heard, which I'm not sure if it's true, was that the government had not heard from the witness or I believe it's her attorney. Yeah. But we'll see. But that is illegal.
Yeah, and wait, we have no evidence to suggest what Diddy has done or allegedly did, which, by the way, Cameron, goes to another question we have from Nicole RZV. In high-profile cases like this, it's possible for the defense.
And by the way, like I said before on other episodes, that I went to, my partner got caught up in the Fed case, and then he was showing me some of his paperwork. And it did have in the paperwork, you tamper with the witnesses, those charges are going to come on you. This witness end up dead or anything happened to this witness, that coming on you. It was actually in his paperwork, literally. Let's go.
Pay some witnesses to refuse to take the stand or to testify falsely.
Yeah, no. This would be incredibly
It's possible.
Stupid.
It's possible.
Yeah, yes, you're right. It is absolutely possible. It would be one of
Definitely
the stupidest
possible.
things for any lawyer to ever do, or for either party. So let's not anticipate anything like that happening.
Cameron, let me throw another question to you. This
Hey, it
is
can
from
happen. It happened in the mall.
Psych Michael. Where is the evidence of RICO, meaning racketeering? We get it. He's a bad dude, but he's not on trial for that. Where is the RICO
Everybody
evidence?
asking that question.
Yeah, I think it's in all the employees working together. It's in Diddy forcing them to do what he wants. Him being, what you referred to earlier as a mob boss, and it's kind of what we call the spoken wheel conspiracy, where he's leading the charge, and everyone else is complying with everything he's doing, and they don't really have a choice. Whether they did have a choice or not is sort of actually irrelevant. But the point is that there's multiple people across states, across the country, helping him facilitate these illegal acts.
And Safa, let me follow that up. I mean, sure, there's different elements of it. It's racketeering conspiracy. So the more the employees will say, we know what the job was. It was to serve his interest. It was to benefit him. It was to benefit what he wanted. That goes to this kind of agreement. But isn't it true they could convict him of racketeering conspiracy without all of the freak-offs, without all of the sex trafficking? Because some of the underlying crimes can be separate and apart from that. Kidnapping, arson, bribery, the
need certain elements.
If the jury goes,
but they don't need a mountain.
I don't know if Cassandra Ventura was sex trafficked, but I think that there was crimes afoot.
She wasn't sex
I think that Sean Combs was a part of this criminal organization. I think he had all of his employees doing his bidding, and we actually believe that he committed crime X, Y, and Z. Am I right about that?
You're absolutely right, Jesse. And the government can do that.
The
jury can come back not guilty with respect to the sex trafficking charges, but they can come back guilty on the RICO charges. So they have everything the jurors are going to consider everything that's been placed before them at the trial. With respect to the RICO charge, again, taking sex trafficking aside, you have these underlying offenses. Which
I believe they just want to take Diddy down. This is the only way they can take him down. They really want to get him on other charges. I think he should be on murder charges, me myself. But that's just my personal opinion. And I just think this is the way they trying to take him down with these petty charges, really. Literally. Let's get to it. Let's hear some more what she had to say.
People have testified to. There have been evidence that's been brought in to make at least a showing that these things did occur. So even if the jury is not going to consider, I don't really think this was sex trafficking. I don't think Ms. Ventura is a victim with respect to sex trafficking. They can still consider the RICO charge in and of itself and the underlying predicate offenses that have been independently proven to make a finding of guilty.
Increase your profit and.
Let's pause that. I don't want to stop sharing that. So that's my reaction on the update from Capricorn testifying today, bombshell stuff. And according to that lawyer, she believes that they proven their case. According to her, they proven the RICO charge. But a lot of people is talking about Cassie and their relationship. So what do y'all got to say about the other witnesses testifying? That's the question. You can go in on Cassie. That's any lawyer do that. Any lawyer do that. But she just laid out in that defense attorney's opinion that they're going to come back with a guilty plea. You just don't need a mountain of evidence for the feds. All you need is somebody to just get on the stand and say, yeah, I seen him do this. Yeah, I saw him do that. They probably don't really even know that person, And you just can't do all this stuff around people. You call in some agency to send you some employees and you bring them into, they got to get drugs for you. They got to set up your freak offs and all that type stuff. You should have street people doing that stuff, man. Why did you go to agencies and that type of stuff? You doing street shit, get the street people to do all that shit. There's people that hang in the street, they're in the hood, they know how to clean up all that shit. Everybody in the hood ain't in the hood, just in the hood. Some people work jobs in the damn hood. Some people go to work every day. They know how to clean that shit up. They got There's independent businesses out there. They would have loved to came up there and got that business. Do all this stuff for you or whatever. I mean, you're doing street stuff, man. Street people doing that stuff. You going to some agency and hiring some employees and have them come doing this shit. And all of them want to be famous. They feel like, one of the things about the entertainment industry, they will use your ass. They'll use you for free. They'll use you for free. And they know you want to be around famous people. They know you're looking for hookups and plugs, and they know you're looking for that through them. And they not just gonna give it to you like that. Like P. Diddy is not gonna take you up in a meeting with Clive Davis. You can forget about that. You want to get up there, and you hope P. Diddy take you up there. But P. Diddy know that's what you want, and he's not just about to give that to you. You know what I'm saying? I had to take a little puff right there. I see a few people in here. It don't cost nothing to click that like button. This is GP TV1 Live. Got some good green going on here. And we talking about the reaction. Show y'all how good that is. But the reaction of day 10 of P. Diddy. And again, I want to tap in on that PDQ. It's having a resurgence. It's been getting a lot of views lately. I got a lot of material on the channel right now. I'm just focusing on loading content on there. I'm not really focusing on numbers right now. So hopefully soon I will be touching my first 1 million views. I'm approaching that. So, but this has some good dialogue when it comes to PDQ. I go through the hood. I see it's totally gone. It was not like that when we went out there. We talking about a long time ago. My grandfather was out there first, so I knew the Nutty Boys. They were the first people I met around there. Yes, the Nutty Boys are the fathers, but when crack and all that stuff came in, it sort of started deteriorating, and nobody knows no better. So it's all of us had a hands in that. So that's why I say let's have some positive dialogue and look for some positivity. And anybody still with the Gangsters Paradise channel, definitely the 6 Mile guys, PDQ and all of them, 1,000. And there was so many people that I personally knew was trying to throw me under the bus. So that's why I tell people, when y'all do this stuff, be careful with that picking side stuff, With the same people I was saying, this is my guy, this is my dog, this, that, and the third. Them the same people was throwing me under the bus. Like literally. So the 6 Mile guys, the PDQ and all of them, they've been down 1,000. So the conversation keeps going on. And I'm having multiple conversations from different videos and stuff, but I appreciate the conversations. But let's have some open dialogue and let's have some good dialogue. One guy left a comment, he said when he came down on the Charmers end towards 7 Mile and all of that, that's the more spookier part. And one of the crazy things I say, because that neighborhood or that area, that precinct, back in the day, it was like one of the worst precincts in the whole city. And I always felt safe around there. Whenever I got around in my hood, knowing it's jacked up, messed up, there's so much going on, gunshots every night, and I always felt safe. When I crossed Connors, I started feeling safe. It's like you're going to a fucked up situation, you start feeling safe. But people who wasn't around there, they may say that. But it's been totally gone. But at the same time, it's a good opportunity because there's a lot of land out there. And the saying is buy land because they're not making any more of it, which would be a good investment. So we don't want to focus on the negativity. Let's just have some positive dialogue. I appreciate that. This is GPTV1 Live. I see a few people in here. It don't cost nothing to hit that like button. Help this live stream get around and grow. Because I'm gonna keep doing this. It's passionate for me, and I like to perform before the audience. Your support means the world to me. And I'm going ahead and end this live stream right now. This is day 10 of the reaction of P. Diddy. Bombshell. It's 8 weeks. It's supposed to be 8 weeks of this stuff. So we still got a lot to go when it comes to this trial. And let's keep the debate going. Some people feel like this is a relationship gone bad. I think it's P. Diddy pissing everybody off and doing shit in front of everybody. Like, you doing all this shit in front of everybody, dude. That's just a mistake that people doing. You know, if you're supposed to be all like this or that, you just can't be all like doing this in front of everybody and think you can scare everybody to be quiet. Especially when it comes to these women. These women are holding on to shit for 20 years. They're bringing that up 25 years later. The next thing you know, you in prison. Look what they did to Bill Cosby. They'll come a bunch of years later. That's what women will do. They'll come a bunch of years later and slam you in the face. And that's what's happening here. He done pissed everybody off. He done pissed the Ciroc folks off. He done pissed off the employees. He done pissed off the freaks, the commercial workers. He just around there pissing everybody off. And you expect everybody to shut up and keep his image clean while he dog everybody else's image out. It is what it is, man. You know, it is what it is. Just let y'all know. Even if y'all say this is just a relationship gone bad, that don't mean go beat the shit out the damn woman, you know what I'm saying? So that part was fucked up, you know. I do think Cassie was doing a bunch of her shit too. You know, she dragged this boy Kid Cudi in this bullshit. Excuse my French. And he felt like he was gonna get killed by these people. And they even mentioned that she was with him when she was around when they grabbed some guns and they were supposed to go after Suge Knight, which is one of his top nemesis. And it always looked like Suge Knight was the aggressor in that situation. He probably was, but I still think that P. Diddy started this shit. Literally, with all the Suge Knight, the East Coast, West Coast, I think P. Diddy is very complicit in that. Yep, I do think so. But Suge got a problem with those East Coast guys. People like Russell Simmons and all of them. He didn't like them. He didn't like Andre Harrell and Russell Simmons and all of them. I really think that P. Diddy actually started that shit, even though Suge Knight getting the blame for this shit. That's just my personal opinion. I just look at P. Diddy as parody all day. You know, he just copy all people when he got made himself a billionaire off this shit. You look at Bad Boy, like the beginnings of Bad Boy, that's basically a copy of Uptown Records. That's basically, he just basically copied what they did, what they were already doing. The only difference is Uptown was more polished, like suits and ties, and Andre Harrell wanted that to be commercial, whereas P. Diddy, he wanted more of that death row type of street type of edge to Bad Boy. You know, so he just copied all what they were doing. Instead of Mary J. Blige, he got Faith Evans. Instead of Jodeci, he got 112. Instead of Heavy D, he got Biggie. That's just my personal opinion. And go back and look at the Uptown stuff. Al B. Sure, they're all polished. Heavy D, he dancing around. He a real polished type rapper. Like, he didn't have that street edge to that type of rapping he was doing. So that's just my opinion. And I believe they lifted a lot of stuff from Tupac. I believe he was copying off them West Coast people and all that stuff. And the real problem they had with Russell and them, because they put Warren G out. And a lot of those Death Row artists was actually writing Warren G lyrics. And none of them was getting paid for that shit. Remember, Warren G blew up. He basically put Def Jam back on the map. Def Jam was through. He put Def Jam back on the map. But a lot of those Death Row artists like Corrupt and all of them was writing the lyrics. Warren G is more like a producer. He make beats and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure he can do some writing and stuff, but be crafty type writing, he had to go to the Corrupts and all of them. So they basically was just lifting the style of the West Coast people. And I think that's just what started all this. P. Diddy started blowing up and think he's bigger than everybody. And you was just the intern at Uptown Records, and that's how Tupac looked at him. Nigga, I knew you was the intern over here, dog. Now you trying to act bigger than me, and you copying off us? But that's just my personal opinion. I done went somewhere else. But that's just me with Diddy and all of that. I seen him in concert one time. They actually gave a great show. Lil' Kim, 112 was there. This is way back in the day. This was like late 90s or something like that. So it was a really long time ago. But anyway, this is GPTV1. You stopping by, click that like button. That really helps out. Your support means the world to me. Check out the GPTV1 store, and the membership will be going up. I mean, it's open right now, but we marching straight to 8,000 subscribers, and we want to approach that 1 million views. So, and again, you're stopping by, check me out just for a minute. Click that like button and subscribe to the channel. I got plenty of content on there. We're going to keep loading it up.